All right. I think we are live, and yes, we are. Good evening. This is Andre Sanders down here in Jacksonville, Florida, of Overcoming the Odds, and we promise you, we finally got her on here. We finally got our guest. I know it's been some there's been some obstacles, but that's hey, you just learn from them. That's the only thing that happens. So now we're going to bring you the core elements of mindset with our special guest out there in the state of Washington. But without any further ado, we will also take it out to the west side of the country to Miss Henry.
Hi, everybody. This is Patricia Henry, and we thank you for coming on, hopping on our live hangout here. And we are internet marketers, if you guys don't know that. And we got online because we wanted to start our own online internet businesses, and happened to be online, seeing other people do it and being successful. And then we know we could, if they are successful, we could do successful, or we could be successful. We know there's a kind of a formula to follow. And one of the formulas is mindset. You have to have a positive mindset, first of all, because otherwise, if there's any endeavor that you want to take on, whether it's in business or life or some kind of project that you're handling, you have to have a positive mindset. So I'm excited to have our guest on, Julianne. She's on my 8FM team, whoop, 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 whoop. With LT, Lawrence Tam, and everything. So Julianne, it's just so nice to have you on, and I'm looking forward to this.
Well, thanks for having me, you guys. I'm really excited to be on and excited to spend this time with you guys.
All right.
Awesome. Well, Julianne, I know when we first met was at a company event a few months ago in Dallas, Texas. I know real briefly, I'm good with faces. I just remember hearing you saying, yes, I'm looking for people to mastermind with. And then for whatever reason, Patricia can vouch for me. For whatever reason, it was just stuck in the back of my head probably for a good month. I was like, you know what? I ran into a handful of people. I was taking pictures. We know it was an intimate setting there at the time. And I was like, you know what? I was like, we normally like to just pretty much, well, since I play semi-pro football, I've been playing since high school, I was thinking, you know what? I like to scout people there too at events to do just this, to have an honest guest as well. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with a handful of people as well that, you already mentioned a few names before we got here live as well. But I'm just stoked. I never got a chance to really get to know you that well, but that's the reason why we're here live. So as Patricia mentioned, tell us your story. Tell us how you got into this home-based business profession online world, and then how you got into the team of the 8FM team, or how you found it or whatever. Just tell away.
Okay. Oh, that's awesome. Well, like anything in my life, it's always been about grit. So that's actually the biggest thing I could say. The biggest thing for me is a mindset of grit. And so a little bit about myself. I'm actually born in South Carolina on a little farm. My father was the oldest of 17 kids, and I have tons and tons of relatives in South Carolina. That's why I go back there often. I'll be there in January. When I was 13, I moved to Southern California. Let me tell you, culture shock. That's a culture shock. It also teaches you a lot about who you are, even at a young age. It teaches you a lot about like what kind of really what it takes to be successful in the world, because when you're like the South Carolina little girl with this little accent going into Southern California, it's quite a, not only culture shock, but it's quite a, you have to decide whether you want to change who you are and be adaptable, which is another really great mindset, is adaptability, and become part of, your environment. So anyway, that was really great. I like to call myself, I am a Southern belle with a Southern California twist. So, and I'm the first in my family to graduate high school. Moved to Washington State when I was 19 years old, and I am the first in my family to get a master's degree in psychology. And I did that while I was a single mom, and I worked, and then I got into the biotech industry, and I was a sales rep, and then I trained over 3,000 reps how to be salespeople, and corporate world's great. I love the corporate world. I made quite a bit of money, but you know what I didn't have is time. I traveled all the time. I never got to spend time with my kids. And, they had a good life. They went to private school, but they missed their mom. Mom didn't get to be around as much. So in 2008, when the economy kind of changed, I got this opportunity. I said, hey, you know what? I'll take severance and I'll start my own traditional business. I'll have tons of time with my kids, right? No. Traditional businesses are almost worse than the corporate world because not only do you not have time, you actually also you're in between your customers and your employees. And let me tell you something, you're the last person to get paid. So, if you just say you're not getting paid by your customers, you still got to pay the employees. And so you're stuck at possibly not getting paid yourself. So, traditional business is great, a brick and mortar business, but reality is I really honestly wanted to have a laptop lifestyle. I wanted to be able to spend time with my family. I wanted to be able to travel because I love to travel. And I'm like, there has to be an answer. So of course I got approached I sold my business, by the way, I didn't tell you that part, sold my traditional business. And then I got approached to do network marketing, which I'm like, wow, that sounds great. You know what? Build my business. I'm going to have all this time in the world, right? And then all of a sudden everyone's like, we got to go to these coffee meetings. You got to go to, these evening events. I'm like, if I want to do this, I'll go back to the corporate world and actually make money now instead of building a business. So I'm like, wait, this makes no sense to me. So I actually went to high school with a guy named Michael Farino, who's part of the 8FM team and part of, we went to the same high school. We weren't, he's actually older, just so we understand. Just want to throw that out there. But we went to the same high school and we'd kept in touch through Facebook and whatnot. And I had talked over the years, and he and I had connected in last May, and he'd been telling me about Project Titan, and of course my background is psychology. So I'm like, oh, coaching, consulting. I'd started my own consulting business this year. I'm all about helping women be successful and empowering women. That's a big passion of mine. And I was like, wait, interesting. Tell me more about this, And so then I kind of got involved with the team. 8FM's amazing. I mean, Lawrence Tam, Brian Couch, Michael Farino, Joe Chance, Patricia. I mean, I can go on, but I won't bore you all night with that. So, and when I got involved, it was just amazing. And I met you in Texas, which I love Texas. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan. So don't tell the Seahawks that, by the way. 86 that out of here. And, so really excited. It's amazing. The culture and the internet marketing can give me the lifestyle I want, which is a laptop lifestyle. I went to Mexico in November. I'll be going to Mexico again on the 23rd. And then I go to South Carolina in January, and I go back to Mexico in February. I couldn't do that unless I had a laptop lifestyle, right? So that's what I like about this, is I actually get to make money on my laptop, which is what people have been promised me when I looked into the network marketing, and actually take my passion and do it. I can do whatever I want with it. So can you guys out there. If you start doing internet marketing, you can do whatever you want. I have people that are part of my team who aren't necessarily into internet marketing, but they're utilizing it to get their passion across to the world. And I love that, so that's me.
Wow, small world. Who would have thought that? You're in the high school with Michael. I'm kind of curious too, as far as you mentioned that he was talking about obviously the launch of Project Titan that we had a few months back as well. Just kind of curious, how did that conversation go? Because I know some people we've mentioned here several times on past hangouts as far as just Facebook etiquettes. Whatnot. So I'm just kind of curious as how did that conversation go? How did he approach you?
Well, I think that, I'm on Facebook a lot. I do a lot of posting, and I do a lot of kind of motivational posting and stuff, I guess, and so he kind of came to me and said, hey, I see that you're doing what are you doing in life? He just more approached me like, what are you doing in life? And then I kind of told him, he said, well, I have this background and this is what so he basically saw what I needed or my clients needed in my coaching business. And he, brought Project Titan to the table based off that, which is the smartest way to do it, by the way. Fulfill a need.
Nice. So I'm just kind of also curious as well, because as we mentioned when we got live here, that we've had some obstacles trying to get you on here as well. So, and I know Patricia already knows this as well, as far as a mindset. I'm huge into it as well. So I'm kind of stoked to hear your own side of this as well, as far as perfect example. With the unfortunate thing that happened with your daughter a couple months ago. How were you able to overcome that? Your mentality. First of all, how's she doing, and then how were you able to overcome that? And obviously, too, last week as well. As far as, because there's a whole lot of things that can race through your head when something unfortunate happens like that, especially when it's like twice. So I'm just kind of curious as far as how were you to overcome all of that as well.
Well, first of all, she's good. She's great. So that's always wonderful. Thanks for asking. Second of all, like.
How old is she, Julianne? How old is she?
Oh, she's 21.
Oh.
Yeah. So she's, young adult, but kind of still. Still needs mom sometimes, which is nice. Let me see. Okay, I'm sorry, I lost my train. Okay, so basically, what happened the first time? I feel bad, to be honest. That's just my personality. I worry more about how I affect other people than I worry about like whether or not I'm overcoming something. My mentality. My first thing is because for me, I always want to be of service to others. That's completely my biggest mindset in life. Is that if I want to be of service to you, you're depending on me, so I let you down. So that makes me not feel good. So I want to keep going to make sure that whatever obligation I set with you guys, I fulfill, And then last week I felt awful. I literally could not get a connection. I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm like, and now this week I'm like, I didn't move. I did not leave my house, just so you know, just so I can make this today. Because I'm like, I have the mindset of, being of service and grit. Like for me, the biggest mindset you can have is grit. And I don't know if you guys have ever watched the TED Talk by Angela Duckworth, who there was a study, and this is a psychologist in me, but I always wondered why it was from the childhood I came from, what it was about me that I always wanted to be different. I knew in my heart from the time I was a little kid, I was going to graduate high school, and there was nothing that was going to stand in my way, no matter what obstacle was thrown in my way. For instance, when I was just turned 18 in March, I'm like 3 months away from graduating. I came home from a leadership camp, and my mother and stepfather told me that they're moving to Washington. And I looked at them, I said, you guys are, but I'm staying here. And they're like, what? I'm like, I don't care. I'm graduating high school. I'm not leaving. And so I slept on my friends' couches for the next 3 months until I graduated high school. I made sure I got myself in college. My parents, my mother had a 7th grade education, grew up in an orphanage. And, unfortunately, my stepfather made different choices than I've made in life, And so, for me, it's just always been about, I make a decision, and, grit is having a purpose in life. I don't know. Are you guys familiar with grits? Yeah. Okay, perfect. So basically, for me, the mindset of grit is that whatever, and there's actually 4 elements to grit. And one of the first elements is it's pursue what you're passionate about, So for me, it doesn't have to be like, I'm passionate about, saving children in Africa, which, by the way, very commendable. That's a wonderful passion. For me, it's more like at the time I'm passionate about graduating high school, or I'm passionate about getting my degree. I'm passionate about being a role model to my daughters. I'm passionate about, my daughters going to private school. So it's whatever at that time that your purpose is that you're passionate about. And that's what people get kind of confused. They're kind of like, wait, I need to be passionate about changing the world. It means just changing your world. It means just making a difference in your life, or making a difference in whatever you're passionate about. Right now I'm passionate about getting in shape. So I literally work out 2 to 3 hours a day. So I found myself where weight becomes insidious. I'm like 45 now, and like all of a sudden one day I woke up, I'm like, holy cow, where do these 20 pounds come from? So I'm like, and everyone's like, oh, go take a diet coffee, or go like take a diet pill. I'm like, no. I'm going to do this old fashioned way. I'm going to eat healthy. I'm going to work my tush off to get in shape, and it's like, it's not easy. The day I was working out, and literally I'm like, nope, you're not giving up. No, you're going to keep going. You have a purpose here. You want to look good in that bikini in 13 days. So anyway, that's like, mindset's everything, so that's the first part of like a grit mindset. By the way, grit mindset can be taught. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. That's the one mindset that can be taught. And so it's actually a really good to know, because there's a lot of mindsets, to be honest with you, that can't be taught. Having a mindset of faith, honestly, you really can't teach that, because that's either someone has a mindset of faith or not. You can hopefully put them in situations that you can improve it, and get them counseling. But reality is, it's like people either have faith or they don't, either people live in faith or they live in fear, So that's kind of, that's one. The second thing is practice when it comes to grit. So what that means, a lot of people, it means hard work, but not just hard work, having purposeful hard work, having exactly what you want to do. You're going to develop like, okay, here's my specific deliberate practice to become internet marketing. Let's take, for example, I don't know about you guys, but you know what? When I did nothing about internet marketing. I'd never done it before, right? Ever, not once, like literally. And like, so I'm like going, okay, well, I'm really good at talking to people. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to talk to people, but you know what? What's my weakness? I mean, like I need to like really practice and figure out how to make my weakness better, which is like sales funnels. Did you guys know how to do sales funnels when you first started? Like seriously. And I'm like,
no, not at all, Julianne. I didn't know, not at all. Sorry, it took us a while because on the live, matter of fact, this is another mindset, positive mindset. And for you is your first live, by the way.
yes.
See, you could have been fearful to get on. I mean, you had been on 8FM before and stuff like that, but you're a guest, a special guest. So you could say, oh my God, I don't want to be this. But yeah, I did not know how to do a sales funnel. What is that? I mean, we were all suckered into one because we were the ones that put our email address and name and everything in one. So, but we didn't know what it was called, right? But
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll give you a good mindset. When I first came on with Michael Farino, I actually had quite really good success early on, like very easy, by the way, like seriously, like day one, I made like 7,000 in day one, like literally, right? It was just, I just like found it. I said, I believed in it. I went to the right people. They believed in me. It happened, right? But then as time went on, I found that, oh my gosh, like it's changing. Like all of a sudden, I really want to automate and I want to learn this sales funnel. I'm not making the money I was making. It'd be easy just to give up at that point, And again, this grit mindset comes in where it's like, okay, nope, I'm going to learn what I don't know and I'm going to face my fear. And by the way, you're right, coming on here, I've never done this. Really, I'm not this super comfortable, like, hey, let me go do this every day. Our videos, I don't know about you guys. Like I did my first Facebook Live, like, well, I've done a few now, but my first one, I was literally like, like shaking because it was like, and I'm like, does anyone see that I'm like sweating here? It was like, anyway, but I kept doing it, right? Because the more you do it, the more you practice and deliberate practice, the more videos I do, the more posts I do on Facebook, the more that I just connect with people, the more deliberate practicing, then the better I get, at being good at what I'm doing, right? So anyway, that's kind of deliberate practicing. So my deliberate practice was learning how to do a sales funnel. And I've done, I don't know how many, and I've deleted, I don't know how many, and I've so yeah, that's
I gotta say something too, Julianne, because I was paying attention to some of those videos that you had. You were fine. You were doing fine in those past videos, because again, like I mentioned earlier, scouting. What was like scouting? I don't want to say like scouting opponent or stalking. I think scouting sounds so much more appropriate than stalking. But you're doing fine because you're going on your strength. It's what I noticed, which is mindset. You go with your mindset, and you go with, you're not going with mindset. You go with your strength, and you just run with it. And then I'm pretty sure you have people resonate with you. Think you're not?
Oh yeah, no, definitely, yeah. And that's the thing too, that it gets easier because you all of a sudden you're like, wow. I mean, I have people like message me and be like, wow, you're such an inspiration. I had this girl in India, like literally, she messaged me. She's like, oh my gosh, you're such an inspiration. I'm like, you're in India. I mean, like. How cool is that? You know what I mean? Like that is just like, and that for me means the world because I'm helping people. And like, I love like the whole, I think that like, like network marketing is awesome, the concept, but it's like, it's hard to go to coffee locally, but if you can get your product online and you can reach the entire world, or whatever it is, whether it's coaching or I mean, I guess you can't do real estate because you're not selling to the world, but coaching, or it's, whatever your product you're passionate about, whatever it is, it's amazing. I mean, you just open up your imagine how much money and how many people you can, help in the world. I don't know. That's how I think of it. It's more like like, it's just beautiful. It's cool to talk to people in Australia, you know, and one day you talk to someone from India and then Australia and then Europe and then Canada. And I'm like, wow, this is cool.
I'm glad that you also said it too, because true money is a tool. And those watching, that mentality as far as money is just a tool for you to get you where you're going. You know, so obviously, see our income disclaimer below, because we're not going to guarantee you any results, but just know one thing, that it is possible as far as, you know, from one, changing your mentality, and then obviously just using the tool or the vehicle that we have a part of as well, to, you know, just go and pretty much get wherever you want to go after. I have to share as well. Keep on going, girl. I don't want to steal your thunder.
Well, thanks. So I'm assuming that this is, like, again, my first Google Hangouts. I'm just talking. So if I'm not, like, doing something, just be like, girl, cut it off. So the third part about a greedy mindset is finding a purpose. So let's just go over the first part is pursue what interests you. So that's different. That's a passion thing, like what you're passionate about. Okay. And let me tell you something, like, once you find out what you're passionate about, find a role model, a teacher. And I think that's what 8FM is so good at. Like, Lawrence is great at that. You know, he's really good at being a great role model. So if your passion is internet marketing, there's, like, very few better role models than a Lawrence Tam, you know? And so that's the second thing, is once you figure out what your passion is, like, for me, my passion was psychology when I was younger. So, like, for me, my role model was one of my professors. You know, he was just phenomenal. So I was like, okay, will you be my advisor? I just picked his brain. I think he probably hated my guts by the time I was done my degree, by the way, because I, like, was constantly in his office going, wait, I want to learn more. I want to learn more. So, but yeah, so pick that. So the second thing is deliberate practice. Okay. So, and working on your weakness is a key. You know, definitely utilizing your strengths in the beginning so that you feel good about what you're doing, like I do mindset, but really working on your weakness, which was for me, the sales funnel, you know, learning the techie stuff, you know, and so finding people that can help you with that, you know, and then also, like, as you're working on your weakness, change the way you experience working on it. Okay. So I'll tell you, for me, in the beginning, I would kind of get frustrated with the sales funnel. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so overwhelming. And that mindset of feeling overwhelmed got me to not want to go get on my computer that day, right? So I started making a game of it. I started actually making a game. I found a couple of people and I said, hey, let's see which one of us can make a sales funnel quicker. Oh, let's see which one of us can do this quicker or that. But we started making a game of it. We'd be like, okay, well, if you lose, then you have to do a Facebook Live. Or if you lose, you got to do a video, you know, and, like, or find something that nobody wanted to do, which was worse than a sales funnel for them. And, like, you know, so then make it a game. So take your weakness and make a game out of it. So, and, like, I think you said you played football. In sports, you're taught that all the time. Like, I ran track. I've done a lot of sports in my life. And, like, I think when you do sports, the mentality you get of, like, taking your weakness, you want to, like, work on it because you want it to increase it. So, like, when I ran track, I never thought about, like, working hard on my weakness. Like, oh my God, I got to go run, like, you know, because I was horrible at the, what's the word? I was horrible at the, what did I say? Out of the gate. There you go. I was horrible. I was, like, literally, I was, like, so I had to work out of, you know, off the blocks or constantly, you know, and so yeah, so that's really important. So third is find a purpose. So what I mean is, really, honestly, you said it already, Andre, is that grittier people are more motivated by meaningful, centered, serving other life. They're not motivated by, you know, a job. They're not motivated by a career. You know, there's something about my personality I've always wondered about. Like, you know, everyone's like, oh, you're so great at sales. You know what's funny? I'm only good at sales whenever I believe in something. Like, there are people who actually could sell a pencil to you. I can't do that. If I don't believe in that pencil's going to stay right there and never get sold. But, like, you know, so find a purpose. You know, your purpose is, like, you know, basically, you know, there's a study. I'm just looking at this. I wanted to tell you the study. There's a study of 16,000 people. And in the study, it found that grittier people are dramatically more motivated than others to seek a meaningful, other-centered life. And what ripens passion is conviction that your work matters. So let's just say right now you have a job. And how do you apply that to it? You're like, okay, great. Thanks, Julianne. But I'm going tomorrow to my 9-to-5 job until I can actually make enough money till I can quit it, right? So, look, you know, I get that, you know, like, but find something in that job. so small. So let's just say that you are a waitress, and like you're just doing that until you can get your online business going or whatever business, your consulting business going, right? Then go as a waitress. What about that waitressing job serving others? Is it making your customer smile? Is it helping other people that you work with, be better at their job? There's something in that job right there that makes you feel good about helping others until you can actually do in life what you want to help others, Then a lot of people don't do that, There was a thing that I thought was really cute. I read it. So there's like 3 bricklayers. I wrote it down, so I have to kind of look at it here. 3 bricklayers are asked, what are you doing? And the first says, I'm laying bricks. And the second says, I'm building a church. But the third says, I'm building the house of God. So the first bricklayer has a job, the second has a career, but the third has a calling. So even if it's a bricklayer, you can still have a calling. So I love that when I read that. I'm like, oh my gosh, exactly, Like, it's just awesome, So I love that, Anyway, so just so you know, though, helping others through your work doesn't make you gritty, okay? It just makes you love what you do. Does that make sense? So what makes you gritty is finding what you love and what you love to do and serving others doing it. So there's a difference there. Hopefully that kind of makes sense.
All right. I've been writing this, trying to keep up with you. My goodness.
Oh. Okay, talk fast. Tell me to slow down.
No. I'm not going to stop you. What we do here is just pretty much no cutthroat. It's cutthroat. All host bars, whatever. So I know I've written down here. You have for one, you have purpose. I'm trying to see if I miss one. Purpose, or your passion.
So one, pursue what interests you. Okay. One is pursue what interests you. 2 is deliberate practice. So deliberate, not just practicing, but it's deliberate practicing. So deliberate practicing, focusing on whatever your weakness is, or focusing on a deliberate practice. I mean, what's the saying is like, you don't go if you're a baseball player, you don't just go bat during the game. What do? You practice batting every single day, because when it counts, you want to be able to be the best at it, which is in the game. So deliberate practice. And then 3 is purpose. 3 is finding, so basically it's passion, deliberate practice, and purpose.
And purpose could be also with the intention that you want to get from what you're doing. Because like you said, when you're involved in it, it's almost like what you feel emotionally in what you're doing. Because if you don't have that passion, if you don't have that feeling, then eventually, no matter what you're doing in life, it's just going to wane off, and you're not going to fulfill it. You're not going to continue. Something else will come along to distract you, or it'll just fall by the wayside. So you have to be involved in it. You have to really feel what you're doing.
Exactly. That goes back to the first part, which is pursue what interests you. Because if you don't love what you're doing, I mean, Steve Jobs said it the best. He says, pursue what you love and are passionate about, because otherwise it's never going to work. I mean, those aren't his exact words, but that's the gist. And reality is like what you said, Patricia, exactly. You got to be passionate about what you do, and if you want to, think about right now, today, the job that you have that maybe is not really what you're passionate about, well, think about ways that you actually are already making, like I said, a positive contribution to society, or to the community, or to others around you, and that will keep you kind of also will make you a grittier person, because you're actually growing, you're having a growth mindset, a growth mindset is very important. So, So the fourth one is have hope. Have hope is not what you're thinking, by the way. It's not like, oh gosh, I hope tomorrow it's gonna be 80 degrees outside. It's not gonna happen probably in Washington State. I can guarantee you that one. But but that's not the kind of hope we're talking about. The kind of hope that we're talking about is that I have, say today, my day. Say today we'll just give an example. I planned on working on my online business for 3 hours. but I only got to work on it for half an hour because of unfortunate circumstances around me, And so the hope is, instead of saying, oh my gosh, I'm so upset with myself today, I didn't get to do my 3 hours, you say, well, tomorrow I'm going to work on it for 2 hours or 3 hours, just some amount bigger than what you achieved today, so that you have hope that in the morning, whatever you didn't achieve today in the morning, you always are looking forward to the next day that you're going to achieve what you wanted to achieve today. So basically what that means is that greedy people don't believe in luck. I've never believed in luck. I do believe that you can know the right people sometimes, and that can help you in life, but that's also because you went out there to find those right people and brought them into your life. Greedy people never believe in luck. Greedy people believe in basically that everything that a greedy person does happens because that greedy person is willing to do it, And so it's not like, oh my gosh, I wasn't born into the right family. Greedy people never think like that. They think I'm going to create the right family. That's the big difference, They're not worried about what they don't have. They're focused on being grateful for what they have, and that they one day will have more. And so they're always looking, and what can they do to get there the next day?
I like that. I really like that. And that's how I believe too. I don't believe in luck. I believe that, you either set it up, you put the right mechanisms in place. So if it doesn't quite happen, then, like, for instance, one time with me, I was looking for a job and nothing came through. I had faxes that were piled up. I could make a book out of them, but one day, well, I do believe in prayer, but one day a friend of mine said, well, why don't you pray for it? Right. And if I hadn't set up all this stuff and went on interviews and this and that, I got 5 calls the next morning from what I had set up. Now, some of them I was out of the blue, mind you, and I ended up taking, surprisingly enough, a job that I had before. They called me back, because they had missed my work ethic, and I used to be a fashion designer and my design talent. But if I had never done that, I went out to make it happen. I wasn't sure who was going to hire me. You could say, well, I went on all those interviews, so something was bound to happen. But I had been going for almost a year, giving up, ran out of my unemployment and everything. And like, okay, what am I going to do? But like you said, you have to go after it. And I've always did freelancing, so I had little jobs in between. But, there's things that you can create, like you said, and then there's things that you can set up where people can call you. That's why networking is so important, I think,
Absolutely, yeah. I pray. I have faith and stuff, but at the end of the day, though, if you still don't do the work, no matter how much you pray, you can't just pray and say, prayer for me is that God will support me in the work I'm doing. It's not that I'm praying and just like, okay, well, tomorrow morning, make me 5'11", even though I'm 5'2",
Exactly. You have to be realistic in what can be done, but what you said, you have to put that in motion. And someone else said it's kind of like when you are driving a car. If you're not sitting in your car and the engine isn't started, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah. Well, I also think that the difference is to have hope where it's just a feel good emotion. Hey, I'm just kind of making myself feel better, by having this hope. That's different than what we're talking about when we're talking about grit. Grit is more where it's actually a cognitive, motivational, dynamic thought. It's a conscious, deliberate, cognitive, motivational, dynamic thought. And that's what you were just talking about, Patricia, where you actually, guess what? Because you did have a actually purposeful, thoughtful, like a cognitive, deliberate thought, then what happened is someone called you back from the old company because you'd done a great job before. That probably would not have happened had you not actually had those thoughts going on. See, I'm all about that. It's the thoughts you have in your head creates your world, again, mindset, if people could understand that 90% of our life, literally 90% of our life is up here between our ears, and there's so many examples of that. You have 2 kids. I mean, I can tell you my family, you have 2 kids that came from the exact same family. One is unfortunately has been in and out of jail and unfortunately has issues with substances, The other, is the first to graduate from the family and go to college and, have had a pretty successful career in life, What's the difference? It's all right here. That's it. That's the difference, you know? I mean, the biggest at all. You know, you could use examples of things like, you know, football. David Carr was the overall #1 draft for the quarterback. And guess what? He's not, but his brother, Derek Carr, who I think got taken in the 2nd round, I'm pretty sure, plays for the Raiders, and he's a phenomenal quarterback. I mean, it's just like, what's the difference? One was supposed to be the best thing since sliced bread, and the other one, you know, got taken in the 2nd round, and he is the best thing since sliced bread. I mean, like, it's all right here, you know? He didn't play good last night, but hey, whatever. Sorry, I gotta always throw football in. It's football season. I'm a huge football fan.
Atta girl. There we go. That's no, hey, nothing wrong with that, because you just stole something from me as well. Because another perfect example. You see this with Adrian Peterson with the Vikings. When he came back from his knee injury, I think it was like a couple of years ago. It was late November. Oh, it's supposed to be a year off. Take a year off of this knee surgery, and the man came back the next season and was 9 yards short of breaking the all-time single-season rushing record.
And he was the MVP that year, and I called it. Just so you know, when the season started, I said, "You guys, guarantee you, Adrian Peterson will be the MVP this year." And everyone's like, "No way!" I'm like, "I'm just letting you know." And everyone's like, "Oh my God, how'd you know?" I'm like, "Just telling you, it's right here." I mean, he's always been like that. Like literally, he's hurt right now, and you can see him on the sideline already doing it. You know, it's just like, yeah, great example. Yeah, good example. Like, you know. So let's see. I just want to make sure I didn't forget anything. Let's see. Okay, so the biggest thing, the reason why you want to I talked about the dynamic cognitive motivational kind of thought is because people who have just hope, you know, basically they're lacking, you know, the ability to, people that are lacking the deliberate hope I was just talking about, they actually adopt just performance goals. And they choose easy tasks that don't offer a challenge or opportunity for growth. And when they fail, which they will, because they're not doing something that they feel passionate about or purpose about or anything, they tend to say that it's because of their environment. They become a victim and they just give up, you know? So that's really important for, you know, to realize, and this is really good for, by the way, when you're building, let's say you're building an internet marketing team, you know, let's say you're building, you know, you have, you know, if you're a parent, this is really important too. This is something that I instilled in my kids a lot, you know, but like, you know, sometimes people will join, I know sometimes people join my team and they have not necessarily done the work, you know, and they're not necessarily like passionate about it. And the first person they'll blame is me. And like, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you have to realize that we're in an industry where, you know, we don't know sometimes the people that join our team, you know, we're talking about people from all over the world. And so as a gritty leader, you got to figure out how we're going to deal with people who maybe necessarily don't share our same gritty mindset, you know? And that's really important as a leader to understand how am I as a leader going to, you know, handle different types of personality, different types of mindsets that come onto my team. Because that's really important as a leader to understand how you're going to lead them, you know? When we're part of AAFM, I'll be honest, we're on the call. I can guarantee you, like the 70 people on that call, a lot of us aren't alike. So how is it that one person leads all those people, you know? And reality is one person can't lead all those people. And then you have to have that mindset. Even if, let's say you sponsor someone, you may not be the person that actually they should lead. This should be the one leading them. And I know that's a weird mindset. Most people are like, oh no, no. I mean, reality is people connect with different people, you know? So that's really important. So the last thing I want to say really quickly, that's really important, I think, is two things. So one is the growth mindset I talked about before, you know, a growth mindset. So basically, are you guys familiar with the concept growth mindset? Most people are. It's basically where you realize that you can actually, that nothing is fixed, that it's not about your innate talent, and that you can actually become smarter. You can actually become good at skills. I'll give you a great example. Like when I was a pharmaceutical sales rep in my 20s, you know, I noticed all the doctors would go golfing with the guys. I'm like, what's up with that? I'm like, all right, I'm going to learn to golf. And I'm going to be the female they go golfing with, you know? I had no idea how to golf, but I was bound and determined I was going to learn to golf, you know what I mean? And it wasn't easy, like honestly, but I had a purpose. My purpose was that I wanted to connect with my customers and my clients more, you know? I had a passion for sports in general, so luckily that kind of just like, you know, for me, and luckily, you know, I do have some, you know, just aptitude for golfing. Thank God for that. Otherwise, it would have been even worse. But it worked out great. And now I love golfing. I golf all the time for fun, So it's just an example, is a growth mindset. I could have instead been like, oh well, I guess I'll take the doctor's dinner all the time, But that's not what I did. I saw, something where I can learn to grow as a person, and I changed the way I thought about it. And the second thing is optimistic self-talk. And as a female, let me tell you something. Women do not have the best optimistic self-talk. And I know right now some women will be like, whatever, yes, we do. No, we don't. That's the bottom line. And I'm not saying that men are great at it either all the time, but men tend to not be so hard on themselves. They tend to see an action that they take, and they kind of like just see it as an action they take. They don't self-absorb it inside of ourselves. And sometimes as females, we just have we're nurturing people. We are nurturing. That's just the way we are. We're nurturing. And so sometimes we take it personal, And so really optimistic self-talk, whether it's about our body image, whether it's about how smart we are, whether it's about being a parent, whether it's about, how our business is going, all of it. We need to have optimistic self.
So I'm writing, looking over the ocean.
Oh, Patricia, that's the area.
If you'll be able to.
Trisha's got me doing some ocean work over there.
I know.
And the last thing is, you guys, and I think that we are part of this already, join a gritty group. That's the biggest thing. If you want to know how to get some really good grit mindset, join a gritty group, because what you are around, you start to internalize, and when you internalize that, you will become, all the norms and values of that group will become your norm and value. And all of a sudden you'll become even more successful. So if you don't have a gritty mindset right now, go find people that do. Go find your people, go find your tribe, go find your gritty people, and become part of them, so that, that you can create a gritty mindset, because gritty mindset is equated with 90% of success. I mean, there's been so many studies done on it, and it's definitely something that can be taught. So I think that's it.
My goodness. You see why third time's a charm? Well, this is something that we were joking about, trying to get her on here. So if you're paying attention, which I know you probably were, she broke the chains, the family chains, broke barriers, didn't get caught up in the past, loves serving people. And then she, was talking about feeling bad for yourself because of that, because remember, Julianne, I was telling you last week, don't worry about it. It's all right. It's all right. Because I could tell that you were starting to beat yourself up. I was like, it's all right. Patricia knows too, about a year ago, I think at the time, I didn't know at the time, but a year ago, I just overcame a mild heart attack. I did not know what was going on with me. I know I'm having a heart attack at 31 at the time, now 32. The only thing I was thinking about was like, all right, how am I going to get back on the field with the help of my teammates? So that the whole having a strong mindset, that is true what she's mentioned, guys. Paying attention as far as, having a purpose for one. The reason why I got into this profession, this home-based profession in the first place, was to continue to play ball. Now people might talk about the whole age thing. Guys, I won a championship a couple years ago, but somebody was 50 years old. So I'm not buying it. I played against two guys this past season in their 50s. Just giving examples as far as how important having a strong mindset is, having a purpose. Notice what Julianne was sharing in her story as well. She stuck with a purpose, and it just led to other avenues as well, which is pretty cool. Tony Robbins, a lot of people know who he is as well. All he wanted to do was just help feed families. And now he's gone to several companies that he owns and whatnot, and then obviously a well-renowned speaker. Robert Kiyosaki, I love reading a lot of his Rich Dad books as well. At a very young age, all he wanted to do is be rich. Guess what? It led to other, building other big businesses too, and having several real estate investments. And now he loves financial education. He loves teaching people as far as that. You see what happens when you have a purpose? That's what Julianne just gave out a perfect example of this evening as well. Really do appreciate you coming on as well, Julianne. Like I said, this third time's a charm, and boom, I'm glad you came on too.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. So it was awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad you came on too, because you brought it.
It was a struggle, but you know what? Like we always say, it's persistence too. And when we have a business, that is really the key as well, because we know so many people get discouraged, so many people quit. I think the average stay in an internet business or any kind of business like this is about 30, 60 to 90 days. And as people who recruit people to try to get into a business, or maybe it's more than they bite off more than they can chew in the beginning, because they have these false hopes and false dreams. And again, they're using the word hope in a different way. Like you just explained, that's the hope that they should have, not the other kind of hope that I hope this will happen. But if you don't make anything happen for yourself, it never will become a reality. And again, it starts in our minds, and we have to take that first step to have a game plan of how to do it. We have to have a mentor that can help us. And even sometimes I know a lot of the complaints where people, their upline was missing in action. Like Andre had one that he had for a little while, and then they're not there anymore because, once again, maybe they were just there for the money. They weren't concerned about you as a person, but then again, they went on to something else, or something like the company could fail. And that could be discouraging in this kind of a market when people are desperate, trying to hold on to anything and everything to make a living nowadays. We don't have that corporate world anymore where you're in business or you're working for someone that's 30, 40, 50 years. Again, back to Robert Kiyosaki, reading his Rich Dad, Poor Dad book, the educational system just has done it all wrong. They train you to be a worker, not thinking mindset for starting your own business. And when people do try to set off and start their own businesses, a lot of businesses fail within the first year. They fail within 2 years. And definitely by the 5th year, if they haven't been persistent and they don't have their correct mindset, they are going to fail. So mindset is important. We can't step out the door if we don't know where we're going, put it that way. We have to have a clear vision of how to get there. Like if you're going to go to the store. I mean, how many times do you go to your favorite store? You already know where it is, but that's over a course of time, of course. And there's something at the store that you need to get. Like the other day we went grocery shopping and we forgot eggs, right? So how does that work in business? You know that you have a goal. You have a goal when you step out that door, when you get in the car, there's something that you want to reach. There is a goal that you want to reach. And for those of us who are on this internet business, we have to reach the hearts and minds of our recruits or our clients or our customers that they can't give up. It's going to be a process, but it has to start in the mind first.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you something that's interesting is that in May, when I came on, I brought in people joined my team. There's 10 of them. And of those 10, there's 1 left. And that right there would discourage a lot of people. But my mindset around that is that then this wasn't for them. Or you know what, they didn't find their purpose or their passion. I actually talked to someone today. It's kind of interesting. I actually talked to a girl who I connected with. She's not part of my team. She's actually not she's actually part of Brian's. And she and I became friends. And she's like, yeah, I'm no longer doing internet marketing. I'm like, why? And she's like, because she goes, I just feel like I was taking people away from their passion. I'm like, I think you're what? I'm like, I didn't understand that, because I think the opposite. I think you're giving them a platform so they can tell their passion to the entire world. Mm-hmm. I go, they don't have to, if they choose not to promote, they can utilize the tools to take their passion and give it to the entire world. There's nothing else besides the internet that's going to give you that. You're not, unless you're like, Richard Branson and you own for Virgin Airlines. I mean, or you got a private jet like, Bill Gates does here or someone. I mean, you're not going to be hopping in your plane and flying around the world, I mean, so how are you going to get around the world? You're going to get around the world by doing things like this, like the 3 of us are doing right now. You're going to get around the world by internet marketing, Facebook, social media. I mean, to me, I love my laptop. I know more people on my laptop than I know probably in actually my community. I love that.
That is wonderful, like what you're saying, because even with Brian, he's the travelpreneur. He's been to how many countries? 16 countries or more because of his business, his laptop lifestyle. You can't, if you're working at Walmart, guys, you cannot take Walmart with you. You know, there may be Walmart in every state, but I mean, how far can you get with a minimum wage job? You know, once you learn and you have this platform that we are offering you, you can take your office anywhere and you can put out a message anywhere. There's nobody that could take this down. This is yours. This is like your permanent office. It is your speaker box or your soapbox that you can get on, and you can teach people how to do what you're doing, and you can charge for it, you know. So that is how we make a living online, by learning these skills, sharing them with others, building a team so that they can have the right mindset to stay with it and build their own businesses. Again, it's going to benefit them, no one else. I mean, we do get profit from it. We do get residual income from it if they stay with us long enough. But ultimately, who does it benefit? We're giving them a skill for themselves. That's what it is. It's going to benefit them.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I mean, you know, I've never been known for doing anything for money, which, I mean, I do things for, honestly, I mean, because, well, let me take it back. I'll give you a great example. I take that back. So when I had my daughters when I was 22 and 24. I wanted to get a law degree. At that point, you know, and no longer, my life is not about me. My life is about my children. Especially, one of my biggest things I wanted to be was a good mother and give my children things that I didn't have growing up. I'm not talking about materialistic things, by the way. I'm talking about a family and a sense of well-being, a security life, you know? And so at that time when I had them, I made a decision instead of pursuing what my passion was, which is law school. And so I had to make a decision to put my children first. And so I got in the pharmaceutical world because, you know, it was something. I was still in my own way helping people in my eyes, because medicine helps people, you know? But as I got in there, the first two companies I worked for, I really wasn't in love with it. I sold GI drugs, which is fine. I mean, it's good to help people with acid reflux because you don't want them to get cancer, esophageal cancer, but that's really not. But you know what I did as I went on, you know, because I said, I want to work for a company that's passionate about helping people. So I went and worked for Novo Nordisk. They are passionate about helping people. They save people's lives. They sell insulin. They do diabetes. I mean, if you go and like look them up, let me tell you something, they are passionate about changing the way diabetes is treated, changing people's lives with diabetes. I worked there for 8 years, and let me tell you something. I love my job every day because it was what, at the core of who I was helping people save people's lives. I was helping little kids and their parents, you know, I was helping them with insulin pumps. So like my point in saying this is sometimes like there's different ways to find what you're passionate about if you change the way you think about it. And so sometimes life throws us some curveballs, you know, and, you know, with my kids, it was very important to me that I made a lot of money to help take care of them. All right. So that's the point. And in the beginning, I kind of did whatever it took to make the money. But as I got in there, I found a way to actually fulfill my passion in it too. And I found a company to work for that was selling insulin that I was changing people's lives. And I became passionate. So, you know, at the end of the day, money's not going to keep you going. That's my whole point in that little long. Money is not, what's going to keep you going is finding the passion to really help other people, at least for me, because that's my passion, is helping other people and changing people's lives. You know, I really, you know, I always look back in my life and I can tell you there's 3 people that changed my life and why I ended up so much who I am today. If they had not come into my life, I don't know what my life would have been like, you know? So one person can make a difference in the world.
And that is very true.
I got my soapbox.
That's almost like the saying I remember hearing from a millionaire as well. He said, one idea can make you a millionaire as well. And it comes down to, like you just mentioned, Julie, as far as, you know, finding your passion. I know also, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was Rich Woman. Mm-hmm. Robert Kiyosaki's wife's book. Kim, she mentioned that the first date they went on, he asked her straight up, what do you want to do with the rest of your life? That's basically like, what is your purpose? Something that if you've read the book Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill called out the traditional school system all the way here. It is in the early 1900s, as far as, you know, it was teaching kids, really not giving them a definite chief aim in their life. To find that passion, whatever it is that you want, trust me, you know, pretty much you go after it. And like we mentioned earlier, now everything will come pretty much, and you know, obviously the right things will get in line with you as far as trying to pretty much expand that as well. You know, no different. Let's say if you do, like we keep on mentioning also this evening, if you do have maybe you're already in a business that you want to do. Let's say you're already doing it, you want to know how to market it better. You see that nice little green link below, that say yes, let me in. Just click on it. $7 for a 2-week trial, so you can just learn some of the things too, and this will be a part of what we've been talking about this evening, and then some. You know, so you can be a part of whether it be Julianne's team, Patricia, or mine. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. You know, just go and just follow what we have to. We will keep in touch, obviously, because that's one cool thing too. Besides this support, you have us as well to help you out. Better enhance. Again, if you have a business, or maybe if you do have a passion, again, this is just a vehicle. That's it. That's all. That's really one thing you have to think about. That's just a vehicle to help you get you to where you're trying to go. I've seen several people here the last few years too use the system to just go and sell other products online. Cool. Or to help better promote other companies that they're a part of. Cool. You've seen that so many times too online too. So that's just one thing that we have to mention as well, as far as having our guests on, because it's been pretty sweet. It's been pretty sweet. So again, Julianne, I really do appreciate you coming on this evening. Again, you brought the thunder, and it was well worth the wait. It was well worth the wait. So don't feel bad whatsoever. It was worth it. So I really do appreciate it. No.
Yeah, and I'm very proud of you. Thank you for coming on. And I really appreciate that. And your first live. That's exciting. Now you get many, many more.
Oh, this is great. Maybe I'll have to start my own live.
There you go.
And then you guys can be a guest on mine. And then,
There you go.
The last thing I just want to say really quick before we begin is business is all about who you do it with. And the one thing I can tell you, when I was in the corporate world and I owned my own business, I didn't get to choose who I do business with. I love being online. I do get to choose who I do business with. And I meet some pretty incredible people like Andre and Patricia. I would have never met either one of you guys if it wasn't for our online business. I mean, Andre lives in Florida. I think, Patricia, don't you live in California or?
I live in the high desert, yes, of California, Southern California.
Yeah. So, I mean, I live in Washington State. Where else are we going to get together except for here online? So.
That's true.
Yep. So if you got value from what Julianne had shared, because I know we did too, on this panel as well, comment below. Let us know in the comments, though. Let us know what you enjoyed this evening as far as what she shared. Because, again, girl about the thunder tonight. All the way. She about the thunder. So without any further ado, again, we'll be back here same time, same place next week. So whether it be at 6 p.m. Eastern Time or 3 p.m. Pacific Time. So with that being said, we will see you then. And again, appreciate you coming on here, Julianne.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Peace.